Hello everyone. Assalamu alaikum. A wonderful day all of you. Welcome to our Institution of Global Professional Free International webinar in IGP platform. Thank you all for joining with us in this wonderful morning. My lovely audience, today I am your host. I am Kamrul, coordinator of IGP from Bangladesh. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to be associated with IGP as a global member, and I feel honored to host this webinar. And it's my delight to welcome you all to our Institution of Global Professional Free webinar. Thank you again all for joining us today in this morning session. And it's my humble request to you that you stay with us till end. And in this meantime, don't forget to tag, share, and mention your friends. So let's together and learn together. Before we have successfully completed our 595 webinars successfully. Today I will be presenting webinar number 596 and the topic is qualitative and quantitative research and instruments. I hope today most exciting topic are waiting for us. Today we have a speaker from Philippines. Let's welcome our speaker through the screen. Hello, ma'am. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you, ma'am, for joining. Ma'am, give a short description about yourself, then you can start your presentation.
Hello, good morning to everyone. My topic for today is about qualitative versus quantitative research and instruments, key differences. I am Dr. Mercedes S. J. Pilar, Principal 2 of the Senior High School within Bacoor Elementary School, that is in the School Division Office of Bacoor City, Philippines. I'm also fond of as an educator. I am also fond of research. That's why this is my topic for today. It is already my 8 years being a school head or a principal in the different schools in our division, and it's really very challenging to be a school head for every school that I handle, most especially in this time of pandemic, that there are many challenges to us as school head to be able to survive in this challenging time. Once again, good afternoon to all of you. As I have mentioned, my topic is about qualitative versus quantitative research instruments, key differences. The objectives of my study, of my topic, are the following. First, differentiate between qualitative and quantitative research. Another one, describe methods, approaches, types of quantitative and qualitative research. Another one, differentiate the instruments used for qualitative research and quantitative research. Next, determine the sample size in quantitative research and qualitative research. Another one is analyze and use research information for qualitative research and quantitative research. Next, sample titles for qualitative research and quantitative research. And lastly, analyzing quantitative and qualitative research. So we have the quantitative and qualitative research differences. So first, as qualitative and quantitative studies collect different data. Their data collection methods differ considerably. Quantitative studies relies on numerical or measurable data. In contrast, qualitative studies rely on personal accounts or documents that illustrate in detail how people think or respond within society. Qualitative research is the process of collecting, analyzing, and interpreting non numerical data, such as language. Qualitative research can be used to understand how an individual subjectively perceives and gives meaning to their social reality. This type of data can be collected using diary accounts or in depth interviews and analyzed using grounded theory or thematic analysis. This means that qualitative researchers study things in their natural setting, attempting to make sense of or interpret phenomena in terms of the meanings people bring to them. So we have the comparison of the qualitative and quantitative research. For the types of data collection in the quantitative research, it uses measurements and questionnaires, while qualitative uses participant observation, long interview, and focus groups. For the sample size, in the quantitative, it is generally large, while qualitative is generally small. For the sampling strategy, quantitative based on statistical power analysis and randomization, while qualitative search for information rich cases and continue until saturation, purposeful and snowballing. For data analysis, quantitative research uses statistical, while qualitative research uses interpretative to quasi-statistical. For the generalizability, normally quantitative is high, while qualitative is often low. For further discussion of the concept above, I have this presentation. Larger sample sizes allow researchers to better determine the average value of their data and avoid errors from testing a small number of possibly atypical sample. Samples in the qualitative research tend to be small in order to support the depth of the case-oriented analysis that is fundamental to this mode of inquiry. Quasi-statistical, where initially qualitative data is analyzed to produce counts, and so secondary data of numerical kind. Sometimes this approach may be used to test hypotheses, even though the initial data collected was qualitative. Another, Becker's quasi-statistics are a way to make a precise count, like some, usually, or most. More precise, the counts are obtained because sound generalizability requires data on large populations. Quantitative research, experimental for instance, provides the best foundation for producing broad generalizability. The larger the sample population, the more one can generalize the result. The goal of most qualitative study is not contextualize understanding of some aspect of human experience through the intensive study of particular case. Another differences of quantitative and qualitative research. Quantitative is deductive, while qualitative is inductive. Quantitative studies well-known phenomena, while qualitative often studies unknown or little-known phenomena. Quantitative test of hypotheses and theories, while qualitative development of hypotheses and theories. Quantitative includes conducted in control setting, while qualitative conducted in naturalistic setting. Quantitative research involves large numbers of subjects, while qualitative research involves small number of targeted participants. Quantitative research uses standardized numerical data collection, while qualitative research uses textual, audio, and visual data collection. Quantitative research utilize standardized numerical data collection. In qualitative, data gathered first, then analyzed, while in qualitative, data gathering and analysis occur simultaneously. Quantitative research uses statistical analysis, while qualitative research uses content like text, audio, and video analysis. Quantitative research explore outcomes due to treatments, manipulation, and outcomes, while qualitative explore complex issues and interaction between humans, outcomes, and processes. For more detailed explanation of this, I have this presentation. Inductive reasoning is a bottom-up approach, while deductive reasoning is a top-down approach. Inductive reasoning takes you from the specific to the general, while in the deductive reasoning, you make inferences by going from general premises to specific conclusions. The purpose of quantitative research is to attain greater knowledge and understanding of the social world. Researchers use quantitative methods to observe situations or events that affect people. Quantitative research produces objective data that can be clearly communicated through statistics and numbers. Lastly, qualitative research studies typically seek to answer questions about the what, how, and why of phenomena. This is in contrast to the questions of how many or how much that are sought to be answered by quantitative research, including epidemiology studies and clinical trials. A common distinguishing feature of qualitative research is that studies often aim to explore and understand rather than measure phenomena and behaviors. When to use qualitative and quantitative research? A rule of thumb for deciding whether to use qualitative or quantitative data is: first, use quantitative research if you want to confirm or test something. For example, a theory or a hypothesis. Of course, as a researcher, we know very well a theory and hypothesis in our study. Next, use qualitative research if you want to understand something. For example, the concepts, the thoughts and experiences you involved in our study. Qualitative research methods. So here are the The method. So we have first grounded theory research. Another one is action research. Another one is phenomenology research. We have also the narrative research. And lastly, we have the ethnographic research. To give a detailed explanation of the different methods of research, I have this presentation. Grounded theory is a well-known methodology employed in many research studies. Qualitative and quantitative data generation techniques can be used in grounded theory study. Grounded theory sets out to discover or construct theory from data, systematically obtained and analyzed using comparative analysis. Another one is action research, which involves a systematic process of examining the evidence. The result of this type of research are practical, relevant, and can inform theory. Action research is different than other forms of research as there is less concern for universality of findings, and more value is placed on the relevance of the findings to the researcher and the local collaborators. Another one is phenomenological research. It is a qualitative research approach that seeks to understand and describe the universal essence of a phenomenon. The approach investigates the everyday experiences of human beings while suspending the researcher's preconceived assumptions about the phenomenon. Another kind of research is narrative research, which can be defined as collecting and analyzing the accounts people tell to describe experiences and offer interpretation. Often, oncology clinicians use narrative methods to investigate issues such as clinical outcomes, coping, and quality of life. The last one is ethnography. It is a study, the direct observation of users in their natural environment rather than in a laboratory. The objective of this type of research is to gain insights into how users interact with things in their natural environment. Now, we have the qualitative research methods. These are interviews, focus groups, observations, and survey. We have also the quantitative research, which includes survey research, correlational research, and experimental research. So this is the in-depth explanation of the following kind of research. So we have the survey research. It is defined as the process of conducting research using surveys that researchers send to survey respondents. The data collected from the survey is then statistically analyzed to draw meaningful research conclusions. Another one is correlational research design, which investigates relationship between variable without without the researcher controlling or manipulating any of them. A correlational reflects the strength or direction of the relationship between two or more variables. Lastly, we have the experimental research, which is a study that strictly adheres to a scientific research design. It includes a hypothesis, a variable, that can be manipulated by the researcher, and variables that can be measured, calculated, and compared. Most importantly, experimental research is completed in a controlled environment. Now, we have the sample size determination in qualitative and quantitative research. So we have the sample size in a quantitative studies. First, quantitative researchers need to pay careful attention to the number of the subjects needed to test the research hypothesis adequately. Next, a sophisticated procedure known as the power analysis can be used to estimate the sample size needs. But some statistical knowledge is needed before this procedure can be explained. Now, we have the sample size. What is the appropriate sample size for a qualitative research? Of course, it depends. The size that adequately answers the research question. First, for single question or detailed studies, it uses single sample. For complex question, it uses larger sample, of course. Now, we have qualitative data analysis, which requires a five-step process. First, prepare and organize your data, print out your transcripts, gather your notes, documents, or other materials. Second, review and explore the data. Third, create initial codes. Fourth, review those codes and revise or combine into themes. Fifth step, and the last, is present themes in a cohesive manner. Now we have the data analysis in research. Of course, we have first to examine the data that we have gathered in our research or in our experiment. Then, after examining, we have to explain it. Okay? And then we have to triangulate. Triangulation is important to see the different resources that can affect the data that you have gathered and will lead to better result of your study. And of course, it will help you enrich the data included in your study. Now, triangulation refers to the use of multiple methods or data sources in qualitative research to develop a comprehensive understanding of phenomena by Peyton 1999. Triangulation also has been viewed as a qualitative research strategy to test validity through the convergence of information from different sources. We have the steps to conduct quantitative data analysis. First, relate measurement scales with variables. Associate measurement scales such as nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio with the variables. Second, connect descriptive statistics with data. Link descriptive statistics to encapsulate available data. For quantitative data, of course, we have the types of the data collection, and we have the data analysis, the sample of data that we are collecting Of course, depends upon the kind of study that we are dealing with. And of course, the advantages of this data or effect in your study. Now, effective titles in academic research papers have several characteristics. First, indicate accurately the subject and the scope of the study. Second, avoid using abbreviation. It must be in a complete word so that it can give you a good sense of your study. Third, use words that create a positive impression and stimulate readers' interest so that the readers will continue and finish reading your research because they are interested, just like the students in your class. Fourth, use current nomenclature from the field of study. Now we have the four steps to select a suitable qualitative research topic. Step one, explore your field of interest. Step two, ensure there is supporting research on the topic. Step three, make sure the topic aligns with university guidelines. Step four, ensure the topic is worth conducting research on. Now we have the qualitative research topics. First example, effects of COVID-19 pandemic on the small and medium business in the industry. Second example, analysis of the impact of lifestyle habits on patients suffering from COVID-19. Third example, physical and mental violence on children and domestic abuse. Fourth example, substance abuse in adults and social implication. Fifth example, working parents and its impact on children and family relationship. One of the first things you'll be wondering when you embark upon a quantitative research project is how it is possible to turn seemingly qualitative data into numerical format. One of the most widely used methods is the Likert scale. That is very useful, which asks participants to rate their opinions on a 5-point scale. Conducting survey in this manner can help you get to the bottom of all sorts of social and psychological questions. The analysis of quantitative data as part of your research project is not necessarily easy, and it requires a significant amount of statistical knowledge, particularly if you're trying to identify a relationship between two variables without a particular hypothesis in mind. You're going to have to rely on numbers. Now we have the qualitative research topics. First, the relationship between scientific evidence for abortion and definition of viability. Second, the effect of positive discrimination of company culture. Third, a comparison between educational placement by age and by academic aptitude. Fourth example, a comparison between disabled students in the mainstream and those taught separately. Next example, does internet access increase childhood sociability? Next example, compare the weight loss benefits of low carbohydrates versus high carbohydrates diets. And compare the benefits of weight training versus cardio regimes. And last example, we have how much exercise leads to a lasting physical benefit. Now, how to analyze qualitative and quantitative data. Qualitative or quantitative data by itself can prove or demonstrate anything, but has to be analyzed to show its meaning in relation to the research questions. So, the formulation of our research question is really very important. The method of analysis differs for each type of data. Now, let's have analyzing qualitative data. Quantitative data is based on numbers, as we have discussed earlier. Simple math or more advanced statistical statistics analysis is used to discover commonalities or patterns in the data. The results are often reported in graphs and tables. It could be presented colorful so that it will also catch the interest of your readers. Applications such as Excel, SPSS, or R can be used to calculate things like first, the average scores of your participants. Second, the number of times a particular answer was given. Another one is the correlation of causation between two or more variables. And lastly, we have the reliability and validity of the results. Now, let's move on the analyzing quantitative data. I think this is already my last slide. Quantitative data is more difficult to analyze than qualitative data. Quantitative data, I should say. It consists of text, image, or videos instead of numbers. So I've said, as I have given a while ago, um, those who are using qualitative data should be also good in in English, so that the researcher can be able to express the meaning of the data. Unlike in the quantitative, that there are some applications, as I've said, we have the SPSS, which can help the researcher in analyzing the data because it consists of text, images, or videos instead of numbers. So some common approaches to analyzing qualitative data include first, qualitative content analysis. It involves tracking the occurrences, position, and meaning of words or phrases. Another one is thematic analysis. It involves closely examining the data to identify the main themes and patterns. Lastly, we have discourse analysis, which involves studying how communication works in the social context. Thank you so much for listening. And once again, this is Dr. Mercedes S. Pilar, Principal 2 of the Senior High School within Bacoor Elementary School, SDO, Bacoor City, Philippines. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your wonderful presentation you shared with our participants. I hope our participants learned something from you. Thank you very much, ma'am. Ma'am, now we proceed to our quiz competition, and then we come back together with our question and answer. So, in this, you will have to wait in the backstage. Okay, ma'am?
We'll be the one to send the quiz to our participants, right?
Yes, Mani. After quiz
Okay,
completion,
thank you.
we move to our question and answer session. With you.
Mm-mm. So I will just be waiting here.
Dear participants, it's our quiz competition session. After a short video clips, we come back. Hello everyone, it's our quiz competition session time. You can join this session by slido.com and the code is IGP quiz. Also give the link in the comment box. You can also join this session by the QR skin which is shown in the screen. Now 18 participants already joined with us. You can join this session by slido.com and the quiz code is IGP quiz. After this session, we proceed to our question and answer session. Top 10 quiz competition winners get their quiz certificate from our Facebook page. So, to join this session, you have to go to slido.com and the quiz code is IGP quiz. After quiz session, we proceed to our question and answer session. Top 10 quiz competition winners get their quiz certificate. We start our quiz session in a short time, so join. Hurry up. Now 30 participants join with us. You can also mention your friends to join this session as it, it is exciting session from ICP. Dear participants, we will pick your name from this quiz. So join with your full name, which will directly print on certificate. And also mention that join only one device with your one name only. We count your one name, but we don't count your double name if you win this certificate of top 10 winners. After 1 minute later, we start our quiz competition. Let's start our quiz now. Our first question is qualitative instruments include observation or questionnaires with numbers. 94% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is observation. On the leaderboard, the first position is Nancy Barotil, and the second one is Jogar, and the third one is Yakin Dorji. Now we move to our next question. Qualitative and quantitative part of marketing research method or technique is the statement is true or false. 100% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is true. On the leaderboard, the first position is Nancy Bharotil, and the second one is Jogar Baldesco, and the third one is Jimma Binilda. Our next question is phases of qualitative research doesn't include asking a research question or deciding on research method. 57% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is deciding on research methods. On the leaderboard, Cristina Del Rosario leading the first position, and the second one is Jogar Baldesco Tosos, and the third one is Evelyn Peri. Our next question is what is quantitative research? Is it data on opinions and behaviors or research data that provides numerical insight? 84% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is research data that provides numerical insight. On the leaderboard now, the first position is Cristina Vidal Rosario, and the second one is Evelyn Ferry, and the third one is Carmela Vizier. Our next question is a purpose of qualitative research is contextualization or casual explanation. 8% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is contextualization. On the leaderboard, again, Cristina Peter Rosario leading the first position, and the second one is Roina, and the third one is Evelyn Pioeferi. Our next question is, what is qualitative research? Is it scientific method of observation to gather non-numerical data or systematic empirical investigation of observable phenomena by statistics? 79% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is scientific method of observation to gather non-numerical data. On the leaderboard, the first position is Cristina Bidel Rosario, and the second one is Cecilia Bide, and the third one is Rohina. Our next question is, the goal of qualitative research is to count how many or dig deeper into an underlying process or understand why. 100% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is dig deeper into an underlying process or understand why. Our next question is, the best example of qualitative research is in-depth interview from highly reviewed resources or reviewing census data regarding rates of uninsured citizens. 84% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is in-depth interview from highly reviewed sources. On the leaderboard, the first position is Christina, and the second one is Cecily Bire, and the third one is Rohina. The next question is, research instruments involve open-ended and close-ended. The statement is true or false. 21% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is true. Our last and final question is, what are the two main classes of quantitative research? Is it experimental and non-experimental, or independent and dependent? 74% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is experimental and non-experimental. Thank you everyone for joining this session. On the leaderboard, the first one is Cristina Bide Rosario, and the second one is Roina, and the third one is Evelyn Ferry, and the fourth position is Dulce Reyes, and the fifth one is Paitua Son, and the second one is Jugar, and the seventh one is Ferdin Diana January Cindy. And the eighth one is Lipakunla, and the ninth one is Ginelin, and the last and 10th one is Junaid. Thank you everyone for participating this session. Top 10 quiz competition winners get their certificates from our Facebook page. Now we proceed to our question and answer session. After a short video clips, we come back together again. Let's welcome this video. Thank you, ma'am, for waiting in the backstage. Dear participants, it's our question and answer session time. You can send your question in the comment box. Af- After this session, we proceed to our certification process. So, dear participants, if you have any question or any inquiry about related this topic, you can send your question in the comment box. Ma'am, our first question from Evelyn Puri, and the question is, good afternoon, ma'am. What types of research that mixed method is preferred to use? And thank you.
Okay. So as I've said, there are two kinds of research. So we have the qualitative and the quantitative research. But some research, we can use also the mixed method. So the concept can be studied deeper, and then by the quantitative research, we can use the statistical to be able to explain and analyze the performance.
Thank
Okay.
you, ma'am. Now our next question from Jane Lane, and the question is, good afternoon, ma'am. What are the disadvantages in conducting qualitative research?
Actually, in what kind of research, there's no disadvantages. It depends upon the researcher. Okay, perhaps one disadvantage for the qualitative research, since now that we are still in the pandemic, it will be difficult if we are going to have a face-to-face interview with our participants. But because we are given this technology, it becomes less risky to interview our participants because we can interview our participants online. So that disadvantage is not really considered disadvantage because of the technology. But without the technology, it will be disadvantages in getting the concept from our respondents. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Dear participants, we are still waiting for our next question.
I think one participant is asking for a soft copy of the topic. Yes, one more try. My PowerPoint is shared to the IGP. Uh, if the IGP will permit to share my topic to the participants. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Dear participants, without any hesitation, you can send your question in the comments. We are still waiting for your question. Ma'am, our next question is, in the field of education, what type of research is highly recommended to conduct?
Okay, so as a researcher, it depends upon the study. So it could be qualitative or quantitative. And of course, it also depends in the expertise of the researcher. Because some researchers are much or more lean in the study of quantitative because of the application that may help him or her in the conduct of the research. But for education, I think no, because me as an educator, I usually conduct the action research since I was a teacher. So action research, as I've said earlier, is usually done in the classroom. So action research will help the researcher, most especially the teacher, to study about the problem that he or she encounter in the classroom. And through that, he can find the solution about the problem. So it can be action research, which can be qualitative or uh, quantitative. It depends upon the data that you will be gathering.
Thank you, ma'am, for the question from Rowena. Good afternoon, ma'am. What are the advantages of quantitative over qualitative research?
For qualitative research, it is advantageous than the quantitative since it's more on deeper understanding of the theories and then the hypothesis. So if the researcher is not that good in mathematics, it's more advantageous for her to use the qualitative method since it's more on explanation. If for instance you use the thematic style. So it's more on explanation of the theme that you involve in your study. So that's advantageous to the researcher. And if you will do it, it's shorter than the quantitative, because most especially when the type of question that you use is only for simple study. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next question from Malu Basco. And the question is, what is the ideal number of participants for FGD?
Okay, for the focus group discussion, maybe because in focus group discussion it's better if it is it is closer. So perhaps 10 to 15 is ideal. It's if it is more than 15, it's already a very large group, which can be a problem for for getting ideas from the different members of the focus group discussion. So it's better to have smaller than big number of participants in FGD. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next question is, do qualitative research requires statistical treatment? And the second one is, if it does, what kind of statistical treatment?
Okay. So, unlike quantitative research, qualitative research does not require statistical treatment. But if you would like to, because in qualitative, it does not test hypothesis. So there's no conclusion. So in other words, able to test more on the answer in the qualitative research. Some researchers uh, translate it into quantitative. And that becomes more relevant and reliable answer for the study, for the research.
Thank you, ma'am. Our last and final question is, in an educational research, how many is the ideal number for participants to achieve an effective and reliable study?
Okay, so we have discussed in my presentation earlier, for quantitative research, it usually uses a larger population than the qualitative. So, of course, it also still depends on the data that we will be gathering at the same time. No? So, but for quantitative research, research participants is very ideal, and we can get a credible answer from them. On the other hand, for the qualitative research, which which require a smaller number of participants, as long as the final answer is already saturated. Saturation means the answer of the participants is almost similar, so it means that it is already in the saturated point. So it does not need bigger number of participants for your study in the qualitative, unlike in the quantitative. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for participating in this session. We are very grateful to you for your wonderful presentation and you share your valuable time with us. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you also for inviting me for this presentation. It's also uh, an experience to be with these educators from the different parts of the world. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank you.
for your participation also.
Dear participants, today our program name is Qualitative and Quantitative Research and Instrument, and the code is IGP 1696. The code is IGP 1696. Without code, no one is eligible for certificate. With code, you can claim your certificate anytime, and without an account on website, you can visit only, but you can do anything functional. So to download your certificate, you have to go to our website. Our website name is eduizp.com, and after that, you have to create an account. Then you have to enroll the program and put the code, and that is IGP 1696. And after that, you can download your certificate. And download after downloading your certificate, don't forget to celebrate with IGP setting. Thank you everyone for participating this session and make this webinar successful. Thank you very much. Stay healthy and stay healthy. Thank you.